that defines the sport of lacrosse.
If this were college basketball, it would be North Carolina and Duke. If this were football, it would be Auburn and Alabama.
Boniello gets out and scores. Maryland draws first blood.
Watch the speed difference. See you later.
Maryland Terrapins
will go down in the history of college lacrosse as one of the very elite teams to ever come together.
This game brings out the best in Johns Hopkins, whether it was back in the 70s, early 2000s. But if you know this rivalry, you know anything's possible.
If you love this sport, where else could you possibly want to be? The 127th edition of The Rivalry has the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament on the line. Maryland and Johns Hopkins meeting as top 5 teams for the 27th time in this storied matchup. Johns Hopkins enters undefeated in Big Ten play, trying to become the first team to run the table in this league since Maryland a couple years ago when they went 18-0 overall. As for the Terps, they get a chance to share the Big Ten title with their rivals and lock up the top seed in Columbus in a couple weeks. They both have already sealed up buys through the first round all the way to the semifinals. We cannot wait to watch this one with you. A spicy matchup with a little extra Old Bay on it today. I'm Drew Carter alongside Don Zimmerman and Quinn Kesnick, who's impressed by that Maryland reference. But I mean, Zim, you've been a part of this rivalry. Both you guys have. Tell us what it means to these programs.
Well, it is the greatest rivalry in all of lacrosse. And there's a ton of respect between these two programs, and there should be. But today, for 60 minutes, perhaps more, these two teams are at best bitter rivals.
This game transcends lacrosse in this town, in this state. Spring is about the Orioles, it's about the Preakness, it's about Hopkins, Maryland, and it's about a natty bow when this game is over.
That's right, we'll be sharing one. Now, Maryland's kind of been the standard in the last decade and a half or so. Hopkins is officially back. They've won 4 games in a row, all of them league games, the last 2 both overtime games, both game winners delivered by the same guy in Matt Collison.
Number 16 in weight, Matt Collison, 6'4", 225 sophomore. He is a force to be reckoned with, and he has scored the last winners in overtime against Penn State and Ohio State. And what I love about him is he seems to rise to the occasion and play his best lacrosse when the game's on the line.
Collison is a battering ram with a cannon and a clutch gene. Hopkins a chance to go 5-0 in league play. Q, on the Maryland side, their offense not as potent as it has been in years past, but their backbone's still strong.
8-3, they're a stubborn team based on winning possessions. How do they do that? There's 3 key guys. Their goalie, Logan McNaney. This guy was an MVP of championship weekend. He wears a ring. Ajax Zapatello, the best senior cover man, a close defense in the nation, and then their face-off man, Luke Wehrman. It's make it, take it. He wins it 59%. Those 3 stars drive the Terp team.
Now, this is either meeting number 120 or 127, depending on who you ask. We're going with Ernie LaRosa's bookkeeping here. It's the 127th meeting, according to Hopkins. Maryland doesn't count the meetings from 1895 to 1923, which was before lacrosse was an official varsity sport for them. Either way, they've played a bunch. They don't like each other. Terps in the all-black, and they start with a rock as Luke Wehrman wins it. Quinn mentioned it, 59% this year. It was plus 60% the last 2 years, and he's won almost 800 faceoffs in his career. It's a Terps team that their coach, John Tillman, described as schizophrenic, a little less consistent than they're used to. They started 4-0, then dropped 3 of 4. Now they've won 3 straight. The all-black uniforms just the second time this season. Typically when they play here at Homewood, they wear red. First shot of the game goes wide from Jack Corus. Quentin, when Maryland has the ball, what are you watching?
Well, first thing here, you know, we're looking at the matchups. Quentin Kilrain on defense, 6 in white, drawing the Eric Maliver matchup, and Scott Smith on the other side, 18 in white, covering Braden Urksa with his speed. Terps have been very patient, Drew, this year on offense, preferring to go deep into the shot clock.
They give it up there on a moving screen. Jason Parks, Jeffrey Hoffman, Jason McGinn are officials today. Zim, what about when Hopkins has the ball? What jumps out?
Well, I think they're going to go with maybe a set play with 16 and 51. They've been running a real nice give and go down the alleys. But again, 23 is their quarterback. And I think they come out with a little set play. This is Melendez, and he's a threat behind the goal, on the crease, and in front of the goal. So a lot of movement off the ball, good hard dodges, and very smart looks.
We mentioned 23, that's Jacob Angelis, their top feeder. One-hand attempt, just sails wide. Russell Melendez was the hero in the regular season meeting last year, 2 goals in the final 4 minutes, including a game winner. That was a barn burner, 12-11 Hopkins win. But overall in this series, Maryland has won 6 of the last 7, including in last year's Big Ten tournament.
Angelis likes this matchup. He's got a short stick on him.
It's Colin Sharkey. 15 to shoot. Angelis trying to shake free.
You got to earn slides against this Maryland defense.
Interesting contrast of styles defensively today. Angelis somehow beats McNaney. And the first goal of the afternoon belongs to the grad student from Chantilly, guy who leads the country in shooting at 53%.
Nice job by Jacob Angelis. The shot clock was winding down, but he kept his presence. Quick turnaround and put the ball up in the corner. I don't know if Mahane saw it, but it was a real nice shot and a way to start off on a positive note for the Hopkins offense.
Zappatello originally on Angelis, and Hopkins working their positionless motion offense. They get a switch, and they capitalize.
Is the sun an issue for the goalies today?
No. The sun sets at 7:49 Eastern time over the left goal. It could be an issue, Drew, in the fourth quarter for the goalie to our right. Right now, no issue.
Well, McNaney, for the last few years, has been one of the biggest names among goalies. Last year, a knee injury, which cost him almost the entirety of the season after he won Most Outstanding Player of the Final Four in 22.
This is Hopkins' second midfield.
Here's Brendan Grimes. Melendez takes a peek. It's a deep Hopkins group, especially in their defensive midfield. They'll run 6 or 7 short stick D-middies. Melendez has the short stick assignment. George Stamos. 30 on the timer. Blue Jays whip it around. It finds for the second year in a row. His shot is high. It's backed up by Grimes.
Good D by Burlace, 40 in black.
Maryland's defense has been humming lately, allowing 7 goals and 6 goals in wins over Ohio State and Rutgers. 10 to shoot. Angelis operating. He is the quarterback of this offense. Degnan. Gotta go. And the horn sounds.
Real nice defense by the Terps that time. Hopkins never really got a good look at the goal.
That is going to be a consistent theme in this game. Neither of these teams will push in transition when it's there, but if not, this game is going to feature long half-field possessions where offenses will possess and try to grind away and tire the defense out.
All sides there for Hopkins. They found it.
There it is. Flag comes out. Q, does that pace favor one of these teams, or are they both comfortable playing like that?
They're both comfortable, but I think Hopkins would prefer more pace. Ultimately, Drew, I think this game comes down to possessions. If the possession margin is close to being equal, Johns Hopkins will win. Maryland needs a possession advantage through faceoffs and saves to win this game.
Terps have their second midfield out here. Here's Jack Brennan, 41 in black. Keep your eyes open for 37, Daniel Maltz, who was a game-time decision, did not start, but he is available. Nice save, Chase Erlin. And now we'll get the delayed penalty against Hopkins.
Penalties have been an issue against the Blue Jays as you get a closer look at Chase Erlin. Grad transfer from Cornell, where he led the Big Red to a national championship appearance. He came into with over 50 games of experience, and Coach, where we've seen that pay off is in the big games. He is big game tested.
He sure is, and he's playing very well right now. That was a nice save to get started. You know, as a goalkeeper, you like to get that first one under your belt.
Maryland to the man up. Shot from up top. Upstairs, it's Owen Murphy. You mentioned the big game experience. This was the goalie matchup in the national championship 2 years ago, Maryland and Cornell. McNaney against Erlin. McNaney made 17 saves in that game en route to the MOP.
Hopkins man down is playing very well. They're playing tight. They're communicating. They got their sticks up in the lanes. Nice job.
They have a lot of experience playing man down.
I was going to say, they're well repped. That's their 41st time-serving penalty of the season.
Compare that to Maryland, who's committed just 15 penalties all season. 12 fewer than the next most in the
That's amazing. I asked defensive coordinator Jesse Bernhardt about that pregame, and he pointed to the fact that during practice, they call fouls and make guys run, and also they spend a lot of time technique-wise to clean up their hitting.
It's good coaching.
Count it. 43rd game in a row with a goal. It's already a school record. And now the longest in the country among active players. He was tied with Brennan O'Neill entering the day.
This is a communication breakdown for the Maryland defense as they come together and huddle about it. It's just too simple. They lose their spots, they lose their numbers and their matchup integrity, and Degnan from mid-range is not going to miss. The band plays.
Wade moved.
This rivalry will test you in the first 5 minutes of a game in terms of your nerves. Seen strange things happen. It's good to get a touch. It's good to make a rough ground ball play, take a check on the arm to get rid of all that adrenaline and all that week of hype.
Get into the game.
Zim, what did you tell your guys going into a game like this?
You know, when you're playing Maryland, you know it's a big game. You don't have to tell them much. Just be prepared. And, you know, there's a fine line between over-preparing and just letting your guys go out and play. So, you know, we try to find that balance, and a lot of times it worked. They know what's going on. It's a player's game.
Terps offense right now struggling through nothing going on in terms of winning a matchup on the perimeter. It's been an issue all year. Who can get to the rack for Maryland?
Hopkins with the clear. There's Ryan Evans, part of that rope unit. And both coaches told us about how they're preparing for this game. John Tillman saying, you want to find that balance like you were talking about, Zim, where you want guys to know how important this game is, but not have them grip the sticks too tight, not be too anxious going in. For Peter Milliman, he said, guys are going to know. I mean, you can't keep it a secret. You can't hide from the fact that this game does mean a little extra.
And you feel it all week, you know, not only on practice, but, you know, people just rise to the occasion. This is a big, big game.
Loaded up. And McNaney on the stop. Evans with a good shot.
McNaney, the lefty, tore his ACL last year at Loyola early in the season, has worked his way back. I thought he started this year strong, then kind of slumped in the middle, and over the last 2.5 ball games has been playing as good as any goalie in the country at 63%.
And that's unheard of. That's unbelievable how he has really risen to the occasion again and starting to play his best lacrosse when it counts.
McNaney does have an extra year of eligibility after this one due to the injury and the COVID year. Here comes Eric Spanos, junior from Pottstown, PA. First midfield back out there for Maryland. Sharp angle shot with a kick save. Denies Daniel Kelly.
Great save on a very well-placed shot.
Slow rotation by the Hopkins defense.
Here's Maltz. Oakson couldn't finish and got clobbered. Big collision with Carson Brown.
Be interesting to see if this will be multiple minutes or not, because it's high and it's late. Scotty Smith got caught ball watching behind the net. Maryland player pulls the string and cuts back door, and then the slide draws the foul. Let's see if this gets multiple minutes. There's no video review in the Big Ten.
Fouls on White, 11, illegal body check, 1 minute. White 11, legal body check, 1 minute. Reset 60.
So this is releasable.
It's releasable, so they don't call that as a direct contact. Probably slid low and then came up with more of an elbow than a spear to the head. Releasable 1 minute penalty.
Second man-up opportunity for Maryland today. Didn't score after the offsides against Hopkins earlier in this first quarter. Erlin gobbles it up.
Jay's defense has done a nice job keeping Maryland out of the paint. Most of these shots have come from the wings, from the fringes, where the goal is not that full 6x6.
And I love Jacob Stabner's stick position there. He got a poke check on the shooter's glove. The poke check is the best check in lacrosse.
That's a costly turnover for Hopkins as it gives Maryland another chance on the man up.
I mean, to be clearing up the box side is a cardinal sin, especially when you're down a man.
And Maryland cuts a timeout.
Looks like they're coming out in a 2-3-1, which we were discussing at the break. When you get the ball behind, it forces the defense to turn to the ball, and that'll open up your outside shooters.
Little extra time on the man up. Shot was blocked by Scott Smith.
Wow, look at that play. Very interesting. Very interesting. Chorus dives towards the ball. Scott Smith was also going for a hit, and this is that's a really awkward collision, Coach, over a ground ball.
Yeah, it sure is. You want to try to stay on your feet, obviously, as much as you can. Things can get dangerous when there's a player on the field. I think the official made a nice call there. Got him settled, and here we go.
You don't see this. Look at the player dive on the ball and almost takes the legs of Scotty Smith out. Smith was going to go for the big hit, and it looked like the Maryland player wanted no part of that contact.
It's like a cut block. So Maryland now 0 for 7 shooting, 0 for 2 on the extra man.
Terps defense putting a short on Collison, which means they're probably going to slide to him, 16 and White.
Can they get him going early? That's a big question for Hopkins.
Nice pick behind.
Dylan Bauer shot upstairs.
And Bauer's going to be the guy. They put the pole Alvidi 77 on Bauer because they know Bauer can beat you off the dribble. He can beat you to the rack.
Speedy senior from Park City, Utah, 7 and White.
And Hopkins doesn't have blinding dodgers. They rely on picks.
Here's Angeles. He has a short stick matchup against Nick Red. He'll try to take advantage. Turns, shoots, and scores. Angeles again. 3-0 Blue Jays.
Angeles, the quarterback of this offense, really shifty behind the goal. Again, gets upfield, nice turnaround shot, puts it in an excellent location.
Similar to the first goal, Maryland's issue is they're losing their matchup integrity. Zappatello, number one of the top defenders in the country, is getting picked, and that's changing the matchup, and Angeles has twice victimized this defense against a short stick.
He's got to be licking his chops when he gets a short stick.
I'll guarantee you they'll keep going to that if he continues to get that matchup. 2 for 2 is not bad.
Scrum forward, and Logan Callahan emerges with the ball.
These fans know that face-off wins may be in short supply for Hopkins, and it gets like a standing ovation.
If there is a weakness for this team, that's it. They're sub 48% on the season. Meanwhile, Maryland is one of the best in recent college lacrosse history in Luke Weirman.
I thought Callahan came on strong against Ohio State in the second half. Really came in and dominated the face-offs. And obviously, that's a very, very big part of this game.
It'll be a 1-2 punch with Callahan and Tyler Dunn. Angeles trying to set it up for Jimmy Ayers, the freshman out of Massachusetts. And he is shifty. Now Degnan trying to turn the corner against Colin Burlace. Casey McDermott, 33 and White, playing some more offense lately. Already 15 to shoot. Melendez into the side of the net.
Coach Millman going to the 2 midfield rotation early in this game. I think he likes his depth.
Gosh, big time. And that draws a flag.
Wow. This may draw more than a flag. Let's behave. Control yourselves.
Degnan at the center. It was 40 on 40 with Burles, the victim.
This has got to be multiple minutes for direct and flagrant contact to the head or neck area. Again, the Big Ten does not have replay review. Ironic because it's Penn State for the reason that we have replay review nationally, and it doesn't exist in this league.
Boy, that's
direct and a minimum of 2-minute non-releasable here. It could be more.
I would agree. They're definitely discussing whether it's flagrant.
I mean, that is an elbow and a shoulder to the head with malice.
Again, no review. Let's get the call from Jason Parks.
40, white, excessive contact to the head, 3 minutes, full time.
Direct contact to the head, 3 minutes, full serve.
Well, penalties have been a major storyline, and for the health and well-being and safety of athletes, we've got new rules to protect them.
Player safety is always the top priority, and that's why the NCAA put in the new rules as far as contact to the head and neck area.
Very similar to college football. Again, there's indirect contact, just a minute, direct 2 minutes, and then flagrant, which would be 3, or expulsion.
Yeah.
So a golden opportunity for Maryland here. 3 full minutes on the man up. Already 0 for 2 with the extra man in the first quarter, shooting 0 for 7 with 3 turnovers. Here's Braden Urksa, reigning freshman of the year in the league. They spin it around with Daniel Kelly back to Urksa. Terps playing 6 on 5, and that shot missed. Owen Murphy, the former Johns Hopkins Blue Jay.
That's what you want when you play man up. The man down's going to give you the adjacent pass. You've got to look for that skip pass. So not only the man with the ball, but the man off the ball has got to get into that open lane. Nice look there.
That's a good look. And Maryland's on the board. It's Jack Corus. They take advantage on the man up, and there might be more coming.
Corus is a jack of all trades. Face-off wings. He'll run an offensive shift. The lefty on extra man. He's a midfielder playing down low in that attack slot. Takes the extra step upfield to greatness with just increased his angle just a tad, and he yanks that ball down low. I love the finish. It's a high release to a low location and completely buckles Chase Erlin.
Tough shot to save.
Now this is where Weirman can take over a game. With that unbalanced wing, it's just too easy for 52 in black.
The other thing we see when we see that type of penalty is it really wakes up a team. And, the Maryland man-up offense hadn't been effective. They come right back and score one.
As if this game didn't have enough bad blood already.
If there was a game on the board where you say there would be a high hit, flagrant high hit with multiple minutes today, which game would it be? Everybody circles Hopkins, Maryland. Oh, yeah. I mean, this game is renowned for bench-clearing brawls, big hits.
Yep, they don't like each other.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Halfway through that 3-minute non-releasable against Degnan. Another shot, another goal. Daniel Kelly is on the board. And the Terps are within 1.
What I love about this play is the assist from 55, Owen Murphy. Little trickeration, little deception, and it just gives the shooter Daniel Kelly that extra second.
And you give him some room and time, He is really, there's that spin move that you talked about. Room and time, he is very deadly with that left hand. He's also excellent inside. You got to watch him off ball. Another big goal for Maryland.
It's 2 goals in under a minute for Maryland, playing 6-on-5. Hopkins only 2 players in there for the face-off, and they scoop it up. It's Scott Smith, the senior close defenseman. Short-handed opportunity. Oh, that would have been a juice goal for Hopkins, but McNaney on the save. Callahan, the face-off man, tried to finish it off.
Nice take. McNaney made a real nice save.
And another timeout for John Tillman. That's a great sign. Colin Burles was in the huddle. He's got his helmet back on now, standing on the sideline. He was the one who got rocked by Degnan. Maryland is 2 for 3 shooting on this extra man, making 2 for 4 as Chase Irwin takes that one to the body. And Hopkins now clears it. They can kill the rest of the 3-minute penalty. Under a minute to play in the first quarter. Blue Jays scored the first 3. Terrapins came back with 2 on the man up.
We'll take this down for a last shot opportunity. With the way they've played defense in the last 3 minutes, they need to take their foot off the gas pedal here. Attack the net at 15 or 12 seconds to go is what I would anticipate.
You got it to Mr. Clutch, Matt Collison, overtime game winners in each of the last 2.
Watch the give and go here.
Yep, here's Jonathan Peshko. Good calls in, but they could not connect on the pass. Now the Terps with a chance with 10 seconds left. Sprinting it into the offensive end. The shot. That's high and wide. Yeah, look out.
3 deep at the fence.
They got standing room only here at Homewood today.
Not sure how far that net behind the net wraps around. That's the coffin corner back there if you're not paying attention.
You might see that area vacate shortly.
Yeah, Daniel Kelly with that shot. Oh, that's going to be another flag against Johns Hopkins. And Maryland will start the second quarter on the extra man. Peshko was stuck on defense, the offensive midfielder. It'll be the 4th.
Hopkins just too amped. That's that fine balance you have to find as an athlete between being really ready to play, excited.
White 51, hold, 10 to foul, 30 seconds. White 51,
being over
hold,
the top.
10 to foul, 30 seconds. 80 on
You've got to know the situation there. Time was running out in the quarter. You know, you got to lay off and not put yourself in a position where you're going to foul.
Well, it's intense. It's physical. Means a little extra. The rivalry, 3-2 Hopkins after 1.
Game for Maryland. He's a first rounder. A guy who's maybe a little more nuanced is Garrett Degnan, Hopkins attacker, who's a 6th-year senior. There's a lot of PLL GMs and coaches who like him a lot.
They're not going to like that 3-minute penalty he took in the first quarter. Maryland was on the extra man for 4.5 minutes of the first quarter. And the Terrapins start the second quarter on the extra man after the hold against Jonathan Peshko. Under 10 seconds left on the extra man. And a takeaway for Hopkins. Great defense from Bowden Zulik. It should be a cause turnover for him, which would be his 68th, the all-time leader in this 137-year-old program.
Give Hopkins credit on that man down. They showed a wrinkle there, pressing out to Owen Murphy, making it really a 5-on-4. That caused some confusion. Good coaching by Jamison Kesterer.
As an offensive player, you got to expect that. When that pressure comes, run away through your hands, make one pass, you might get something.
Bauer, head of steam. By the way, we showed Carp's big board. Paul Carcaterra is currently in central New York. Just wrapped up calling Syracuse, Virginia, and what a finish in that one. The Orange scoring the last 4 goals to win. Here's Matt Collison, big Canadian.
Might have gotten away with a ward there.
Now it's Bauer. Shot clock down to 15. Welcome to the cradle of college lacrosse every day, but especially today. And we've got ourselves a tie game. Daniel Kelly's second goal for Maryland makes it 3 in a row for the Terrapins, and this is the 127th edition of the rivalry.
And if you're just joining us, you missed the first quarter filled with penalties. Hopkins with 4 different penalties. It's been kind of a slow-down half-field game until that goal. McNaney picks it clean, and Maryland is off to the races. They execute the trailer break with a beautiful cross-field look, and Kelly sets his feet and lets it rip. That was a gorgeous goal where at least 5 or 6 Terps handled.
Good transition. Kelly is so dangerous off the ball, as we said earlier. He gets that left hand free. He has good speed on that shot, but more importantly, accuracy.
Luke Wehrman with a clean win on the faceoff. You saw the game summary, how we got here, if you will. You missed a lot in the first quarter, but good timing because now it's tied 3-3. Alongside Quinn Kesnick and Don Zimmerman, I'm Drew Carter. A beautiful day here at Homewood Field. 70 degrees and sunny. Top seed in the Big Ten tournament on the line. Look at Chase Erlin out of his goal, sprawling out for it, whose ball belongs with the Terrapins.
You can see fans wrapped around this field, 3 deep in the end zones and around the side of the field. There's not an open seat in this house. This is as crowded as I have ever seen Homewood Field. Estimates beyond 10,000 fans here.
I would agree. And it's great. It's great for this game. It's great for the game of lacrosse.
Homewood Field, they say the capacity is 8,500. We're well over that today. Regular season finale for both these teams. They've both locked up buys through the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Just a matter of who will be the 1 seed. And that's crucial, right, Q?
In my eyes, it is, because Penn State is sitting at number 3. The loser of this game could end up playing the Nittany Lions in the Big Ten semifinal.
Here's Braden Erksa, last year's freshman of the year in the Big Ten. Sets it up. That rings the iron. Ryan Siracusa, grad student out of Alpharetta, Georgia. Maryland wins the backup 60 on the timer.
Reset on the shot clock. Went off the crossbar.
Tell you, after a slow start offensively, the Terps look to have found a little bit of a rhythm. And I say that, and Spanos coughs it up.
As that aggressive Hopkins defense, Brandon Aviles forced the turnover. Scott Smith on the pickup. Blue Jays scoreless in the last 8 minutes after they scored the first 3 goals. 2 of them from Jacob Angelis, 1 of them from Garrett Degnan.
Hopkins comes back with that second midfield. They're getting a bunch of runs here early in the game. Depth could prove to be a big factor down the stretch, Quinn.
Oh, what a shot! Brendan Grimes tucks it in. And Hopkins retakes the lead.
That's the 3rd time today that Hopkins has scored on isolation dodges against a shorty from X.
Love how Grimes comes up. He's a big, strong player. I think he catches McNaney a little bit off guard. He's in a great spot.
He beat him to the punch. He really did beat him to the punch. He went from cradle to shot in an eye blink. And I think McNaney expected him to post up or try to turn the corner.
Logan Callahan wins the faceoff for the moment. Along the sideline, it's Maryland ball. And a late flag comes in from the opposite side of the field. This is
going to be against Maryland.
And that'll be their first penalty. It's been an extremely chippy first half.
And here's what's going to happen. The officials will let you play, but when all of a sudden it gets chippy and out of hand, they're going to tighten things up in a hurry.
Black 45, it's unnecessary. It's 1 minute. I'm going to 80.
This is good officiating because we've been on the alert. A little bit of a dive there, quite honestly. A little bit of a dive there,
you
right?
think Quentin Kilrain sold it a little bit?
I do. Coach?
But again, now the tempo has been set with as far as penalties. They're going to call a lot of things right
the
now.
refs are on high alert based on some high, vicious hits that we saw in that first quarter.
And they need to be.
They have 4 penalties against Hopkins in the first quarter, including a 3-minute non-releasable against Garrett Degnan. At the first against Maryland. That's really the story of the season for these two teams. Hopkins leads the Big Ten in penalties committed. Maryland is the best at avoiding committing them.
16.
There he is, Matt Collison. It's his 4th man-up goal of the season.
Collison, he's tough with the ball. He's tough off the ball. That was a little wrinkle. I haven't seen Hopkins run that play this year. Collison gives the ball up, floats to the inside, kind of nonchalantly, and all of a sudden turns, and what a nice feed from behind, right on the money.
You mentioned that wrinkle, and you're always saving stuff. There's a bio, Matt Collison, now a sophomore, potential All-American caliber season he's putting together. Clutch, confidence, and clutch. He can be a bulldozer in space, and he's got that hand-eye coordination from the inside.
I think he's extra confident this week, too. He just got a haircut from Jamison Kesterer, their defensive coordinator. And that'll be Hopkins' ball as Weirman won the faceoff and went straight to the cage.
Tried to force a pass inside. Man wasn't open.
The Blue Jays score those 2 goals in just 37 seconds. 5 minutes into the second quarter, their lead is back to 2. They scored the first 3 today.
Nice job by Hopkins that time, recognizing the man back, not going off sides. Maryland runs that 3-3 zone defense. They try to, on the ride, they try to congest the middle third of the field. And a lot of times that'll confuse opponents and they'll go off sides.
Collison again. Degnan way outside. From Degnan, his second goal today, and it's 3 in a row again for Hopkins.
We want more Garrett Degnan with an absolute flamethrower on a throwback from Collison. He sets his feet at plus 15 yards. This is PLL 2-point range for sure. And that's why the head coaches in the PLL think Degnan's going to be a dangerous pro to work off of picks and some of that high action around the top of the arc and bury the ball from distance.
Three goals in a minute 28 for Hopkins. So a game of runs here in the rivalry.
If you want to take it.
Save Erlin. Burks has got it. Wow! Chase Erlin. Full extension. 2 saves in a split second. He stopped Jack McDonald first, then Erksa on the rebound.
That recovery was remarkable. Incredible hustle. Incredible grit. Never giving up.
Had very similar back-to-back saves against Ohio State.
And Hopkins with a takeaway. And Chase, with the way he was getting dirty, looked like his brother TD there.
That possession's not going to go over well as John Tillman glances down at his iPad. Here's the save. It's 2 of them. The second one, watch, he's down and he sleeps.
Cat-like reflexes.
We've seen Liam Entenmann of Notre Dame make a similar save earlier this year. It's their attitude of never giving up. That's a hustle play for a goaltender.
Hopkins has come back now with the third midfield, so they're even going deeper into their bench.
This is one of the deepest teams in America. Big reason why they're up to third in the poll, third in the committee's top 10 released earlier today. No doubt about it, Hopkins is back. Jimmy Ayers, 5'9" freshman with a lot of wiggle. Russell Melendez now. Lost his footing, harassed by Jackson Canfield. Ayers turns, shoots. McNaney, the rejection. Chases it down himself.
Terrific work by Logan McNaney. Tracking that shot, cleaning up the long rebound. Accurate outlet across the field. He's the real deal, Logan McNaney. Now, he's a grad student, but he's got an extra year, the lefty from Corning, New York.
Yeah, McNaney in a 2-year master's program studying applied economics. Got the COVID year and the injury year from last season when he tore up his knee.
Not afraid to come out of the cage, out of the crease, and make something happen on ground balls.
Midway through the second quarter, Maryland has coughed it up 4 times in the second. Hopkins yet to turn it over. Second midfield out there for the Terrapins.
Lefty. Syracuse is a lefty.
Here's Whittier. Spanos. Syracuse. Got a hustle on the shot. Bounces across the face of the net. No reset. And it'll be a shot clock violation as Spanos' shot goes high.
Spanos has had a really nice season. The junior from PA. He's got 27 points. He's a very accurate shooter from the midfield. I think he's one of their highest percentage shooters they have. He needs to assert himself in 6-on-6 sets. That's 7 in black, Eric Spanos.
Spanos shooting 44%, which is second in the league. Only Jacob Angelos of Hopkins is better.
From the midfield position. So he often will invert and turn the corner, but that's an incredible number for a midfielder to shoot.
So it's another turnover against Maryland. That's 5 in the second quarter.
After Hopkins went on that run, it seemed like Maryland was trying to force the ball inside a little bit. Again, you're not going to get it all back at one time. One play at a time, add them up at the end.
This is what Hopkins has done, slowing games down and playing complementary lacrosse. More of a winning brand. Give their defense a breather.
Bauer hits the Jets. Bounces a pass to Jacob Angelos. A great day for him already. 2 goals and an assist. He's second in the league in helpers. Peter Milliman hasn't used one yet. 5 minutes and change to play in this first half. It's Collison. Got the short stick assignment. Moving screen. Collison guilty.
You know, that's a tough call because the Maryland defender was not allowing Collison to move. So that could have gone either way. That could have been a moving pick.
That was a moving pick in the highest degree in my eyes. It was almost like he was a pulling guard for the ball carrier.
Well, you know, you're not allowed to prohibit that pick man from doing his job. So it could have gone either way.
Did you guys have arguments like this when Quint was a player and Zim was a coach?
No, I was the coach. He was the player.
Very rarely.
Hopkins gets it right back, though. The second quarter has been all JHU. It's been all Columbia blue. Right, Q?
Columbia, yes, not Carolina. Now, you know, when that offensive player is going to set the pick, as Coach Zim alluded to, defensively, I'm taught to get into him and actually ride him away. You see it in basketball also. That concept very similar to what you see in the NBA.
Timeout. Peter Milliman, his team doubling up Maryland. 4:14 to play in the first half. Hopkins ball. Here on the ESPN family of networks. Big Ten is loaded. We got the top 2 teams in the league this year. Johns Hopkins 4-0, Maryland 3-1. They're both locked into top 2 seeds in Columbus in a couple of weeks. Here at Homewood Field, Drew Carter, Don Zimmerman, Quint Kesnick with you. Thrilled to be here for the rivalry, meeting number 127 in the 27th time Hopkins and Maryland meet as top 5 opponents. Blue Jays have scored the last 3. Jacob Angeles has 2 goals today. That's something you don't see often from him, an errant pass and a turnover.
When you talk about this rivalry, now internally, since these two teams are playing in the same conference, this game has a lot of importance, and it always has. But I think what stood out for me externally as a player here is that this game matters in this town. It's like on the cover of the Baltimore Sun. John Buren, Scott Garceau, Vince Bagley would show up at practice the day before the game. These are local anchors on the ABC and NBC and CBS affiliates. Like, this game is a lot bigger than just lacrosse, and it doesn't really hit you until you experience it.
Baltimore's a great lacrosse town. Maryland's a great lacrosse state.
So a lot of fringe lacrosse fans will follow this game.
There's more than bragging rights on the line today as well. It's the top seed in the Big Ten tournament. Maryland trying to spoil Hopkins' perfect season in the Big Ten. Last team to run the table in Big Ten conference play, the Terps in 2022, 18-0 overall, one of the best teams in the history of the sport. Under 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Good ball movement. Sharp angle shot. Erlin's on it, and he keeps it out of the net. He stopped Daniel Kelly, who's already scored twice today.
Sits on that like it's an egg. You know it's under there, and you don't want to do anything that'll kick it or give it any kind of momentum to cross that goal line. So he was patient. He could feel it. And you just want to take your time and not do anything stupid or radical.
Keep the composure.
So with that last shot, Maryland is now 0 for its last 7 with 6 turnovers in that span. And that's after they started the game 0 for 6. When you made a good point, they haven't scored in a settled 6-on-6 all day. 2 on the extra man, 1 in transition.
And that's the schizophrenic nature that John Tillman talked to us about. Good pockets of play, poor pockets of play.
Collison's got a short stick.
16 in white and blue. Pick and roll, and Peshko hit the deck.
It's interesting. They've wanted to pull Bauer when he's been out there today. I don't see him on this shift. But they've put the shorty on Collison right away as if they want to get to his body and then slide to him. They've pulled Bauer this matchup here because Bauer's got great foot speed.
3 to shoot. Bauer got to go. He does. That was kicked away by McNaney. And it's Maryland ball.
Landed in the crease, not the goal mouth. Just a change of possession.
Now Maryland can take the last shot if they choose. Here comes Eric Spano, 6'5", 220 junior. Matched up with Brandon Aviles, the grad student transferred in from Syracuse. Shot.
Good defense by Kilrain. Oliver's been quiet. Braden Urksa has been quiet.
Here comes Urksa. Scott Smith with the matchup. Now Spanos still against Aviles. Slide comes. Who's open? Syracuse couldn't handle the pass. Goes down. Oh, man, it's been physical here in the first half. Loose ball belongs to Hopkins. And guess who? Aviles. Got to go.
Millman wants a timeout.
He's been calling it for the last 5 seconds. Or he wanted to wait until they crossed over?
Yeah, he's got to wait till the offensive player crossed over. And he was getting frustrated that Angeles was standing outside of that restraining box. And once he crosses, Coach Milliman now gets the timeout with 8.1 to go.
Look at Peter. Right.
A lot of reason to play this season.
Well, speaking of underrated, how about that trophy? Can you believe that it's not marked up by anyone who won it?
These young players are extremely well behaved these days.
All right, 5 seconds left. That one makes it all the way to McNaney. And he flings it back down the field. So these players who are much better behaved than Quint Kesnick was back in the day
I mean, you give us a trophy like that wood trophy, there's going to be guys carving their initials in there. It would come back painted blue, I tell you that much. You know, that's been really a testament to this season. You know, they've lacked a certain consistency. Can they find it now in the final 30 minutes?
Maryland missed the last 8 shots they took in the first half with 6 turnovers in that span. They also missed the first 6 shots they took. No goals and settled 6-on-6. 2 on the extra man after the 3-minute non-releasable penalty on Garrett Degnan, and then 1 in transition. They do get a clean win on the faceoff to start the third quarter, though. Feels like Weirman's got to be big for them if they're going to come back.
Exactly. Luke Weirman, Logan McNaney, their goalie. Those 2 guys they have to separate, tilt this field.
We talked about how Weirman came out in the second half of the Penn State game, really took control and turned that game around. I think really gave the Terps a new lease on life.
Here's Braden Erksa, quiet first half for the sophomore.
Hopkins defense less slide aggressive on some of these matchups. They've been slower to double team than typically.
Spanos draws the short stick.
They don't want to create offense for this Maryland team that lacks dodgers from the perimeter.
10 to shoot. Syracuse rips and beats Erlen Lowe. Ryan Syracuse, a good start for Maryland here in the third.
Superb possession. Patience. Spanos draws the defense. Syracuse with the left-handed step down.
A lot of room and time on that shot. When you give a player like Syracuse at that time of, room and the time like that, he's going to bury it. Well-played shot. Offside low.
Maryland winners of 3 in a row. Penn State, Ohio State, and Rutgers. Still a chance for them to get the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Nice
and another
play.
face-off win.
A.J. Larkin with it's just a spectacular ground ball and handle off the wing. Sophomore from nearby Loyola High School. Dad Casey, a former Terp.
So a great start in the first 2 minutes of this third quarter. 2 face-off wins and their first settled offense goal of the day. Another step-down shot early. All over it. That was Owen Murphy, the former Blue Jay.
With a good skip pass by Maryland. Defense has to keep those sticks up in those passing lanes.
Johns Hopkins, winners of 4 in a row. Rutgers, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, trying to wrap up their perfect run through conference play. Matt Collison, he is a problem. Out of the box with a head of steam. Dylan Bauer, 7 in white. 5'9" senior from Utah. Back to Collison. Marked by Nick Red.
Red's doing a nice job on one-on-one defense, staying low, going lower than the offensive players. That's always a good indication.
Maryland's defense is super solid. Watch their body posture on balls, really good. They make excellent slide decisions. They're not over-aggressive. They won't create offense.
Single digits on the shot clock as Bauer collects himself. Now he's matched up with Red. Up top, Angeles tried to go one more. And the horn sounds on the shot clock as McNaney comes away with it.
That's outstanding defensive work from everybody. Nick Red holding matchups. Alviti, 77, covering Bauer. McNaney cleaning up the trash behind the goal. One thing we know Maryland can do, they can win faceoffs, they can make saves, and they can play defense.
Economy of movement defensively. No wasted slides.
When you're playing good, tough one-on-one defense, solid, notice that Red didn't throw a lot of checks. He's just moving his feet. playing good body position.
It's the second midfield for Maryland. Whittier, Brennan, and Murphy. Where does the offense come from? 2 goals from Daniel Kelly, 1 from Syracuse. Now it's Braden Urksa. Scott Smith with great defense. Forced it to Murphy. Spent 1 year with Hopkins. It's the 5th time he's played his former team. Oliver gets it to Brennan. Short stick assignment against Aviles. Gotta go. Murphy, 3 to shoot. Turns, feeds. And the horn sounds.
Hopkins answers with good defense.
Both teams settled in. It was a bit of a wild start. 4 penalties against Hopkins in the first quarter.
Hey, Jack McDonald, he is tough on D, isn't he?
He is
relentless.
Senior from Southside High School. 51 in black. They're all well schooled. Stick position. You watch the stick position and the footwork of this defense. Zappatella leads the way, 1 in black. But look at their posture on ball. It's textbook.
You said they look like clones sometimes, right?
They do. If they took their numbers off, you would struggle to identify them. There were similar body types.
And that's not bad for a defense. You know, defense, no glory, just wins.
And they're dialed in to start this third. Backstop by McNaney. It's the same goalie matchup as the 2022 National Championship. There's McDonald, 51, playing offense. Nice job to sweep it to a teammate, Kelly. Maryland keeps possession.
You know, McDonald, he was loaded, ready to shoot that ball. Unfortunately for Maryland, a little off.
Well, it leads to a goal anyway. It's George Stamos, the short stick D-mid with his 3rd goal of the season.
It was Stamos who bagged the game winner up in the Carrier Dome. The sophomore who wants to go into special forces. This is a situation where Hopkins defense, they just didn't give Maryland the respect in that slow break. This is the 2nd time today this has happened. You got to get in the hole, stop the ball, and call numbers.
Good point. It's all about communication. You got to get into that hole. The more players you have in that hole area, the harder it's going to be for that offense to score.
They got caught chasing that ground ball when McDonald made the nice play to his teammate Kelly.
Hopkins goes to Tyler Dunn. He wins the faceoff for the moment. Weirman takes it away. So not sure who they're going to give that one to, but Maryland had won 4 in a row before that.
Well, that's where stats sometimes don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know, you get the possession, but all of a sudden you lose the ball and the other team picks it up.
Weirman's got the entire Terp bench buzzing. He's the king of making halftime adjustments. They can go inside, they look at the iPad, they can chart out the hot zones of where Hopkins is putting the ball. They can review the referee cadence from the first half. We're talking space-age stuff now compared to what it was like when we played.
What'd they have when you played, Q?
Chalkboard.
Yeah, we're down 3 face-offs. Let's win more face-offs. John Tillman will cut up clips on that iPad, and Luke has made great second-half adjustments this year.
Urksa with the skip somehow got through. Hopkins defense scrambling. Erling with the save. And the backup.
Nice job by Erling. Stayed on the pipe.
If this were a grass field at Homewood, his uniform would be very dirty. He'd have grass stains all over it.
It used to be a grass field. I could show you a picture of a Hopkins Maryland game in the late 70s that was played in a monsoon. Puddles, like ankle deep.
He actually had to run uphill to go to the goal. It had a hump in the middle of the field.
turf.
Dodge to the dirt. They used to say dodge to the dirt. And that was the dirt in the middle of the field caused by practicing on the field.
This is Melendez. Collison on the invert. Again, Red with the matchup. Quick ball movement, ends up with Bauer. Zapatello picks him up.
Good recovery by the defense. They double and recover.
They're on a string right now. Melendez lost it. Terps take it away. Red caused it. Zapatello scooped it and somehow got it back to McNaney.
Again, textbook play by the Terps in their slide and the recovery, and then the loose ball by Zapatello. He runs into traffic, but circles away and goes back to the goalie and out the far side. That is as good as it gets.
And that's the look. If you're trapped on one side of the field, circle, protect your stick, and you got to have an outlet pass on the cross field, 60 yards away.
So Maryland a chance to tie. Game of runs so far. Syracuse ran into a wall of white jerseys. Great play by the Blue Jays. Jackson Raposo knocked it over to Scott Smith. And here's Bowden Zulik, a two-time captain along with Garrett Degnan.
I got a lot of respect for this Terp team.
They might have numbers here if they get underneath.
Maryland's not flashy. Maryland is not explosive. But, man, they will fight you for 60 minutes, and they'll play a winning brand of lacrosse so that if you don't play well, they will beat you. They are stubborn.
Casey McDermott. Jimmy Ayers tried to sneak it home, and McDermott wins the backup.
Who can win a matchup for Hopkins? In the first half, it was Angeles.
Hopkins' sideline was demanding a shot clock reset. McDermott's shot went wide, and Maryland goes all out for the backup. So a scoreless 10 minutes and change to start the third quarter for Johns Hopkins.
Maryland has an interesting clear. They only have two back, McNaney and one defenseman. Most teams will have three back. Maryland uses two, and I think it opens up a man further up the field. Nice scheme.
It was that scheme that allowed Stamos to sneak behind Syracuse and score that overtime game winner in the Dome.
It was one of 3 overtime wins for Maryland this year. Perfect 3-0. So was hounded by Smith, who's won that matchup so far.
Good communication on the picks.
Whittier, one-on-one with Hunter Juronsky.
Hopkins has really dialed down their slides and their double teams.
Typically, they're aggressive. Whittier on the catch after the cut. 5 to shoot. Early with the save. Maintains the lead. Daniel Kelly was thinking hat trick.
Great top hand movement by Erlin, bringing that stick across his face.
That's 8 saves for Chase Erlin. 8 for McNaney as well.
Hopkins now in a little bit of a scoreless slump here. No goals in this quarter.
Maybe Jonathan Peshko can get the wheels turning. Senior out of Ontario. John Tillman, Maryland's head coach, says, feels like I've been playing against Degnan and Peshko for like 20 years.
Bauer's got a matchup against a short for the first time today.
7 in white. He's at X right now. This is Peshko curling around the top. Shoots and scores. And Jonathan Peshko joins the party. Hopkins back in front by 2.
The band plays We Want More. Peshko presses the middle. the dirt.
You know, 6'4", 200, and a senior player, he's got to be aggressive like he just did. Get to the middle of the field.
They play the ball not over aggressively. They're really good in their postures. They make you earn double teams. They don't make frivolous slides.
They play smart, and it sure doesn't hurt when Logan McNaney has a 63% save percentage since then.
And they play to his strengths. They deny and take away the middle and any feeds to the middle and keep the shooters on the fringes, much like Notre Dame does with Liam Entenmann.
How did Hopkins break that 22-minute drought? Peshko got to the middle. And now the Blue Jays force a turnover. Erlin trying to clear as Urksa harasses him. Maryland on the ride. You don't see this very often.
Scrapping, way to battle.
Well, late flag comes in near midfield.
I cannot believe that they're going to call a penalty here. Well, the video won't lie. It's going to be a pushing violation.
30 seconds. We're going up. We're going up.
That's a push with possession.
That's a tough call.
I mean, that's from the side at worst. Wow. In a rivalry game, heated. Always talked about Hopkins at home, usually getting a call or two. Maybe that's the one today.
Well, the point there is he made contact on the front side of his torso. That should have called off the push. But, you know, these things happen.
Urksa sits for 30 seconds. I mean, it was so chippy at the start. You guys both said that the officials wanted to get the game back under control.
Absolutely.
Angeles, Melendez.
Scary group with Degnan up top, 40 in white.
Yeah, we've seen him drop a bomb from 16 or 17 already.
It's going to stretch you.
Back to even strength. McNaney's got it in his cross with under 90 seconds to play in the third.
Found that to be very conservative by Hopkins.
And then they forced at the end. You know, they didn't attack the way they should have early on in the penalty, and now as the clock winds down, they get a little antsy. They expect to score a goal, and they force it inside the Coliseum.
So Hopkins now 1 for 2 on the extra man. Maryland for the season, dead last in Division I, 73rd out of 73 teams in man-down defense, only killing off 43% of their penalties. Now, of course, the caveat there is they barely commit any penalties, came in with just 15, which was fewest in the Big Ten.
Eric Spanos, now's the time, 7 in black. Eric Molliver, 4 in black. Got to show up. 10. Braden Urksa, now's the time.
Yeah, we haven't heard from him at all today, aside from when he committed that penalty. Credit 18 in white, Scott Smith. Did a fantastic job with that assignment.
Molliver's got a shorty now. This is an opportunity.
A 7-second difference, shot clock and game clock. The senior from Atlanta, Eric Molliver. Now Eric Spanos. 5 on the timer. Still nothing doing.
They're going to put it in the corner. No, nice fake on that. That's a nice little fake. It looked like he was going to roll into the corner, and then he went to the goal. Hopkins coming back with that third unit.
6.4 left in the third. Ryan Evans runs it across midfield. And Hopkins will take a 2-goal lead to the fourth. What do we think, more than 10,000 here at Homewood today?
This
Absolutely.
is as crowded as it gets here in Baltimore. 10,000 for the rivalry. They've been playing this one for more than 100 years. This game transcends lacrosse.
And what's incredible is, for 40 years, you've maintained that tan. Exactly the same as you did in 1984.
Well, you're awfully kind.
His golf score is better now than it was back then.
I wish that too.
Here come the Jays to start the fourth quarter. A clean face-off win for Logan Callahan.
It's big.
Maryland's got the edge 9-6 for the day.
Tone setter for the fourth quarter.
Maryland has won 6 of the last 7 meetings in the rivalry. Meeting 127. Hopkins won in the regular season last year in a game that was just a humdinger. It was tied at every score from 0 to 10. Blue Jays ultimately won 12-11. Terps got revenge in the Big Ten tournament semifinals. Jacob Angelis, so speedy from X, got it to Bauer. Degnan took a look.
Every long-term rivalry will go through ebbs and flows. Maryland with the upper edge lately.
Both these defenses have been stingy. 15 to shoot.
Watch this give and go.
Degnan and Collison. Degnan keeps it. Collison sets it up. Waits, shoots. Ooh, that had some steam coming off it. 4 seconds on the timer as it did not hit the net.
Nice little hitch and go there.
Yeah, he runs through that stick like it's not even there. If you don't take body on 16, you're not going to stop him with a stick check.
Peshko takes a shot clock violation.
So this game kind of bogging down now in the second half. From a goal score, goals are tough to come by, right?
Seems that way. Both defenses playing very well, and both goalkeepers, we knew that coming in.
That's been the Big Ten, the MO of the Big Ten this year. It's a defensive league this season.
That's Big Ten DNA, right? Even in football. Tough-nosed lunch pail types. Where does the offense come from for Maryland, Q?
I think they have to attack the short stick defenders of Johns Hopkins defense. Okay? Whether behind the net or from a wing, Hopkins will slide and send help, and then you're going to have some looks. Problem is that nobody can beat their man and draw a double team.
Good call.
He tried to just goose it to keep it on the right side of midfield.
In that situation, that's all you can do. You can't put it in your pocket, toss it back. It's got to be a goose. If that ball goes in your pocket, it's possession. It's an over and back.
Well, just to illustrate your point about how the game is slowed down, in the first 21 minutes, Johns Hopkins led 6-3. Then in the last 26 minutes, it's 2-1 Maryland. Took a look. 2 goals for the captain today. Goals in 43 consecutive games, a program record. Russell Melendez.
He's got a shorty.
There's Eric Kohler, the sophomore, 8 in black. Swim dodge from Ryan Evans. His pass back to Melendez. Off the mark, Nick Alviti hunting it for the Terps. One of the former Vermont Catamounts on this roster, 3 of them.
Nice ground ball pick up there by Melendez.
Gotta go. 10 seconds to shoot. Evans finds Ayers. The freshman rips it. Easy work for McNaney. But his outlet pass taken away.
That's a stinger. Made such a smooth save with that half cradle and smooth pickup. And he went for the outlet. He was aggressive. Probably put a little too much juice on that pass.
Maryland also didn't do a good job of spreading out on their breakouts. They had 2 players in one area, and then one Hopkins player could play 2. You always want to spread out. Never allow one to play 2 on offense.
Jay's bringing fresh legs now. It's a tough possession for the Terps.
Especially when Collison's got it. Sets it up, Degnan. Little step. McNaney with another save. Can they clear it this time? Oh, no. Hopkins stayed onside, but Alviti takes it right back.
That was some two-handed wrap check. I mean, he gave it to him as hard as he could.
That was the 10th save for McNaney.
Do you see? He went boom, and the ball gets dislodged.
But in the official's mind, it wasn't out of control. That's a very, very good check.
You know, Zim, you and I called the America East Championship back in 2022 when Alviti was at Vermont playing for Chris Fifes, a former Maryland Terrapin himself. I thought he was the best player on the field in that game on a loaded team.
I agree. His playing well here today for the Terps.
Yeah, 3 Vermont transfers on this roster. We're under 10 minutes to play in the fourth. In this slowed down, low-scoring game, who can break through? Every goal critical. And possession critical as well.
Look up.
Hopkins ball and a chance on the run. Jackson Raposo peels it back, slows it down.
I think that's a good decision, but I think you have to keep pushing the ball down. Make the defense work. They pull it out early. Make them work. Make them get them back in the hole.
John Tillman, Maryland head coach, mentioning transition defense as the #1 assignment of the week. They've checked that box. It's not like Hopkins is running and gunning.
Brendan Grimes has scored from below the goal once today. Around the Angeles screen.
Once is left.
Slide comes. Finds Degnock. They wheel it around. McDermott.
That was a nice take. Little right to left, shake and bake move. Hopkins has not been able to get inside. They've been minimally invasive getting inside this defense.
Under 15 seconds on the shot clock. Can Angeles get them going? Bounce the pass for Ayers. Jimmy Ayers, the freshman. Surrounded by Terrapins. Another shot clock violation. You don't want to be minimally invasive against this Maryland defense.
They've really played extremely well here in the second half.
No leaks, no cracks. Problem is this side of the field where in this quarter, no shots and 3 turnovers for the Terrapins.
Wow. They've thrown the ball out of bounds twice now. They go off sides behind the play. Just making their job harder than it needs to be. The margin of error for the Terps is slim, right?
Yeah, you can't have that. That's a mental mistake. Now, all a game like this, every one is crucial.
All of a sudden now you got a lot of defense in this quarter. Hopkins rotating fresh legs.
And again, Hopkins so deep, especially in the midfield.
Coach, you mentioned this week when we were talking about their score by quarter and how strong it is in the fourth quarter as an example of when that depth shows up.
Well, in the fourth quarter, Maryland is +10, Hopkins +18. But today, the defense has really made it tough to get a goal, both sides.
This guy's been the difference in the last couple games. Collison went to his right hand. McNaney makes the save.
Here we go.
And he connects on the pass to Eric Kohler. Can the Terps generate something on the break? Urksa, Stamos, back to Urksa. Good recovery from Hopkins and Bowden Zulik. Man, he's a captain for a reason. He just extinguished that chance basically on his own.
Buttoned up transition defense. A gorgeous outlet from Logan McNaney. The Terps want to run. But Hopkins in the right set. They move their feet defensively, and they stay sound.
I think Kohler that time should have drawn the defense. He gave it up to the point man too early. Draw that defense, let your attack go to work.
Spanos runs into Aviles. 6'5" junior Spanos. Sends it to exit Urksa. Under 6 minutes to play. Urksa with a quick move into the feet of Patrick Deans. 20 to shoot.
I like that from Urksa. He's a guy that can get to the rack. He's got good wheels, 10 in black.
He had 5 points in his first taste of this rivalry last year. Now 10 on the timer.
That shot never made it to the goal.
Erlin with another stop. Maryland scoreless in the last 17 minutes. And Chase Erlin today has 10 saves.
Really seeing the ball well here in the second half.
That ball was on top of him, and you could tell that he didn't see it well initially, but he was so patient, and at the last minute, boom, he drives that top hand and gets there. That is an incredible reaction save.
5 goalies were nominated for the Tewaaraton in the top 25 that came out this week. Erlin was one of them, and Peter Milliman uses a timeout.
I like that timeout. 47 seconds left from the shot clock. Let's see what they come up with.
Exactly 5 minutes to play. Hopkins by 2.
Play their games and get to this game. And I love the fact that the weather, this game's always been scheduled late in the season. The weather perks up, the fans will show up. Lacrosse is not a winter sport.
Hugh, have you seen any more local news anchors in the second half?
The guy I forgot to mention was part of this rivalry for 40 years was Bill Tanton of the Baltimore Evening Sun. A writer who wrote about Johnny Unitas the same way he wrote about Frank Urso.
Love it. Single digits on the shot clock. Angeles had a look at it on a nice pass from Collison. Couldn't handle it. Maryland emerges with it. Jack McDonald, a crossfield pass, and the Terps turn it over again.
With a fresh 80.
Yeah, this is taking a minute off the game. And so now John Tillman's got decisions to make defensively. He's got to talk things over. They're going to have to change their scheme and become a little more aggressive.
He uses a timeout to do so.
I mean, it's a good news, bad news scenario, right? If you're the Maryland Terrapins, you have played a gem of a defensive game. I mean, Hopkins is scoring on people, and you've held them to 7 goals. That's really good. The problem is you can't score.
What can they do to generate a little offense?
Well, first off, they can't turn over the ball.
They got to have the ball.
They play great defense. They get the ball, and then they throw it away. And they've been doing that here in the fourth quarter. Again, you got to be composed, and you just got to take a deep breath and say, keep it simple. Let's do what we've been doing all year, clear the ball. And then on offense, come up with some scheme. I like the fact putting the ball behind the goal, maybe going big, little, get that defense to slide, and then let your shooters go to work.
The other thing is, this rivalry, we've seen wacky things happen, okay? The good news for Maryland is you got Luke Weirman, your face-off man, who's one of the best in the game, if not the best. He can win the ball forward to himself and generate quick transition. So you're not out of it. So 2 goals could quickly become 1, could quickly get tied up, right? He's a little bit of a special teams player who can make a big difference. So there's more hope with a guy like Weirman.
Go make it, take it maybe if you're Maryland, but how's the defense going to look different out of this timeout? Remember, Hopkins has already clinched at least a share of the Big Ten championship. They can finish their undefeated season today. If Maryland wins, though, they'd both be 4-1. Terps would get the 1 seed.
And I think that the significance there is that Penn State is locked in at the number 3 seed. And in my estimations, a much tougher game awaits the loser of this game in that Big Ten tournament.
Agree.
Now, as far as Maryland defensively, I think they'll keep it basically 90% of what you've seen, maybe playing the ball a little more aggressively, maybe stretching out adjacent just a little tighter. But with 4 minutes to go, this is not the time to chase or send poor decisions with double teams.
Yeah, they're not going to take McNaney and have him come out of the goal and double the ball. Not yet. On picks, they may try to jump the pick.
They'll be more aggressive on the perimeter.
In the last 19 and a half minutes, 1 combined goal. It was for Johns Hopkins. The Terps, no goals and just 3 shots.
These 2 teams put on a defensive show today, following a game that had, 35 total goals up in the Dome? During an Ivy League season that Yale and Cornell are hitting teens every week? Hopkins will milk this. They'll bleed the shot clock down.
Shadows starting to get longer here in Baltimore as we approach 6 o'clock. 30 seconds to shoot.
Field balance is key for Hopkins on any kind of turnover or shot. You've got to get back to the hole.
This is Collison. He's got the clutch gene. But he turns it over.
That's
here.
a bad turnover now, leading to an easy run out with potential trailers.
Burles, after the ground ball pickup, clears it himself.
Hopkins didn't have really good spacing there.
Where does the offense come from?
They've got numbers.
They do, 4-on-3.
Winning the sub game here, Kohler gave it up, got it back, shoots, Erlin turns it aside. A monster save for Chase Erlin.
Daniel Kelly was wide open on the crease. Whenever he was unsure of who may be open, first place you look is inside. He was wide open.
How did Hopkins only have 3 in the hole? It was a break, 4-on-3, but low to low won't go.
Not a problem for Chase Erlin. 10 saves today.
And now Hopkins is going to be in a full-blown stall.
And Brendan Grimes runs it back to X. Stamos pesters him.
Both coaches have a timeout at the top.
Johns Hopkins trying to beat Maryland for the second regular season in a row. Last year, 12-11. This one, a little bit more low scoring.
One thing Maryland cannot do now is foul.
Kohler defends Melendez. That pass to nowhere. McNaney will collect it with a $1:39 to play.
Doors open for the Terps. Again, Luke Wehrman's our face-off man. You can play make it, take it if you can somehow get one here.
Step one, score, which they haven't done in over 20 minutes. Will they use a timeout? They will. Tillman takes his last one.
I like that one. You know, no sense in saving it. You need a goal, set something up, see if you can get one. And like Quinn said, you got Luke Wehrman there, and it's the make it, take it. 2 goals is nothing in this game. 3 is a little different. 2 is nothing.
Well, one of the best players on the field really all season for Johns Hopkins has been Jacob Angeles. A couple more goals today, another assist. One of the best attackmen in the Big Ten.
Well, he got to the rack early today when Hopkins created some mismatches. They got a switch, and twice he was able to isolate from behind the net in the first quarter, jumping Hopkins out to a 3-0 lead.
I liked how he mixed up his shot selection. First one he put high, the second one he put low. Keep him guessing.
Well, they're not just doing it on offense. Of course, they're doing it on defense as well. Chase Erlin, a big reason why Maryland is stuck on 5 goals.
Jays fouled early. I mean, they had 4 penalties in that first quarter. Erlin stood tall. And then with a 6-3 lead, here comes Maryland. But Erlin, great hustle and effort. He's been really solid from mid-range, good rebound control. He has not let in a soft goal all day. He has been steady as a rock.
10 saves for the transfer from Cornell. If you're Maryland, you have to score quickly here.
You just got to score.
Got to score.
The way they're playing offense, you know, getting a quality shot has not been easy. Hopkins comes out in their man-to-man set.
It's the old be quick, don't hurry.
Last 21 minutes, 3 shots and no goals for Maryland.
Good defense that time. Switch on the pick. Good communication.
Bounce back to Kelly, 45 in black, who's got 2 of their 5 goals today. Berkson.
Here's a matchup he can work.
Got the short stick, Joronsky. Got to go under a minute. Into the side of the net. It was Kelly. Shot clock turned off. Joronsky looking for an outlet.
Play a little keep away.
Peshko
Great
gets it
look
across. Beautiful clear. Looking for the exclamation point. Deans couldn't handle the pass. Just under 30 seconds to play. Maryland needs one in a hurry.
Nice poke check.
Zappitello with the shot. 19.8 seconds left.
Smith was right in his gloves. Never had a chance.
Timeout, Johns Hopkins.
Hopkins got a little over-aggressive there with a 2-goal lead. Maryland has scored back-to-back goals in a game this season in under 4 seconds. Luke Wehrman did it against Ohio State.
Good patience on the clear. Good separation.
This pass here was beautiful. This next pass right here. And this is where Hopkins should have just chilled out. You don't throw that ball to a long pole teammate. Those aren't the guys that we're trusting our season with. Those guys with long sticks, they're paid to play defense.
And you don't need another goal. You have possession. Run the ball behind the goal.
That's where
ice it.
You have to understand your own personnel. Carry that ball behind the net and run to victory.
Right, and it's an attack, and you have to understand that. You have the ball, you have a 2-goal lead, you know, clock's running down, you see a defenseman cutting towards a goal. Hey, good hustle, but I'm taking the ball behind.
Maryland's got to run a set play here. Their offensive coordinator, Michael Phipps, kind of a late hire this fall, coming over from Navy. He and John Tillman have been orchestrating the offense this year. Hopkins, your head on a swivel here. You're playing all picks and screens in front of the goal. Sticks are up in the passing lanes. You're listening for the check call.
Urksa, the trigger man. Around the screen. Draws the short stick, Jaronsky. Urksa scanning. 12 seconds left. Up top. The game icing save.
And a great look upfield.
The save and the clear from Chase Erlin. And it's perfection in Big Ten play for Johns Hopkins. A 7-5 grinded out win over their bitter rivals in the 127th meeting between the Terps and the Blues.